Hello, today is the 12th of October 2011, and this video will be regarding that towards gambling and investing. And therefore, all the information that I want to talk about is on the screen right now. So let's get started, and we'll start with the top left. And what I have is 5 different weeks within gambling on pro football. I have the week on the first column, the views within the Derek's Diary channel, and these are views that close on Sunday. So all the views that happen after it's all said and done, I don't count those. In fact, even some of these views are after the games even begin because Sunday finishes at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, or 3 o'clock a.m. Eastern time. So there can be many hours after it's done, but the views have been very, very low, which I find remarkable, I guess is the best word, considering the record has went well beyond expectations. Now, I do like the fact that they are low, as I will talk about what gambling really means later on, because I really don't recommend anybody investing serious amounts of money on anything that I say. And I'm not investing any serious amounts myself. But the views have been going lower as the record has been going higher. Usually, when somebody hits around 50%, they're not worth watching. If somebody can hit major winners or major losers, then it can be effective. If someone can consistently hit over 60%, then that's profitable. And if someone can consistently win against the spread under 40%, again, that's profitable, but you just go with the opposite of what they say. So far, within 5 weeks, my ranking overall is number 3 on BigGuy.com out of 241 participants with a win rate of over 40%. What that means, for every dollar invested on every single play, there's a gain of 40.9%. So for every $100 bet, you gain 40.9% of that, or $40 per game, basically. And it's incredible, but I don't expect the records to stay within this level. And you can take 71.9% winners over 5 weeks while knowing the long term will keep bringing that percentage lower. Hopefully not, because the goal was 60 to 63% for the year. 52.38% is required to break even on standard lines, and there are day traders who can profit in the same manner, and in both cases, the investment is fairly much the same. There are losers in sports betting and losers in day trading as well. In fact, most of them are losers. And when we look at the definition, gambling to bet on an uncertain outcome, and I have certain personally defined, this is my definition, 0 or 100% chance of occurring, or the probability odds being that of 0 or 100%. And the methodology that I use for thinking of this is you think of some sort of event. Will something happen, and what's the chances that it will occur? And what's going to happen is when it's all said and done, it's either going to end at 0 or 100. What's the chances that the Detroit Tigers win the World Series in baseball? It's going to end at either 0 or 100%, but it's not either one right now. And at some point, it will have to occur. But if you know for sure that it's 0 or 100, then it's certain. If it's 99% chance of occurring, it isn't certain. If it's 1%, again, not certain. So within skillful gambling, what you're trying to do to have calculated gambling is that of making sure that your certainty puts you in an ROI investment. Therefore, you want to be at least 52.38% sure within Vegas odds that you are going to win that game. And that's the basic secret into calculated gambling, that is. And when you look at investing's definition, to commit, and in brackets, money or capital, in order to gain a financial return. And that's what all gamblers are trying to do, is gain a financial return. They throw $100 in the slot machine. They are hoping that they're going to hit the jackpot and that $25,000 or $100,000 prize is going to hit them. That's the hopes. But what's the what's the outcome, the chances that they're going to hit it, or better yet, what's their win rate. And for most Vegas games, their win rate is 2, 3, 4% on a lot of games on their favor, which means it's negative 2, 3, 4% for you. So if you're a losing player, this would be in that of the negatives. And when you're betting, and you should be using the word betting, on stocks, you're looking at the charts, it's 1 o'clock, and you see this inverted head and shoulders pattern. It's finding support at the daily VWAP, and it's hitting this Fibonacci or R2 or whatever level, and you're like, oh man, I like the chances that it's going to go higher. And you might want to say to yourself, well, what's the percentage chances that it's going up? And that's your risk reward in a nutshell, basically. Well, I'm about 70, 80% sure that it's going to go up a percent and that I will not get stopped out, basically. And then you do your risk reward. My average gain should be 1.5%, and my stop loss is at a 1% loss, and you do all the math based on that. That's what winning players do, basically. So I'm going to finish it off with the bottom part. Therefore, if one person bets 1,000 on each of one of my selections, that person would be faced with having profits of $13,100 with a standard minus 110 line. If a day trader over the last 5 weeks made 40 trades, of which 29 were winning, that totaled 21,400, and 11 losses totaling 8,200, and fees totaling 560, this profits $12,640. All that happens is a transfer of wealth. In these cases, that does nothing to help this planet on a scientific level. There can be cases where some people can use this for positive gain as the root of all evils. Money is only evil when the actions within it are that of evil. And what I find very interesting, just finishing off again, going back to the views, is I get so many people who are watching my videos because they are investing. They're day trading. They look at the SLV. They're doing all these things, trying to find the swings or playing the options market or whatever. Everyone's got different strategies. And I am very rarely ever going to say that this should happen, and if I do, it's probably because of Fibonacci confirmation. And the last time I gave you that, there was no time for you to get in on it because that 26 level took minutes to happen, or a few hours after it was confirmed. Therefore, these levels, I give you the results here, but there's no way I would even consider charging for something like this. And on an ethical level, I have no care whatsoever if you win or if you lose. Because there's going to be weeks where I could go 1-6 against the spread, and anyone who plays me for the first time may lose their whole bankroll, or very much a lot of it. And if that happens, then that happens. However, when you're faced with an uncertain outcome, the only way you're going to win on this is if you're good enough to beat the spread, good enough to know other people doing what they are doing to beat the spread, something in that nature, and then play the marathon, win the long-term game. Because even over 32 games, there's not going to be your average ranking of what you should be, which might be 60% or 57 or 50 or whatever it happens to be. But over the long-term time frame, it should, with the law of numbers, work out. And the keyword is should. I have little doubts that it sometimes doesn't. Therefore, I really don't recommend that too much. The only way you can play legally is if you play within Vegas or any other type of a bookmaker casino that you are legally allowed to go towards. You have the offshore places, and I know it's very strict within the United States and very much controversial. I'm staying away from both of those, and within my local area there is an Ontario, which is the provincial uh, way of betting legally on football games, and the odds are much different. And personally, I go for the hit or miss situations where you invest extremely little to make a decent amount, but it's really not paying in fiat currencies, although technically it is, but it's all how fast you can change it into gold and silver. Okay, this is more of a rant, but I really want to go over again that whole gambling investing thing. But it's been about a year since I've talked about it, and it's really important. This definition is to me extremely important because I personally accept gambling because to me life is a gamble based on this definition in here. And therefore, if you think about silver being that of a gamble, it sort of is. The only problem is, to me, I think that the chances of fiat currency ending is pretty much already here. So it may not be a gamble. It's not often, though, you do find things that are 0% or 100.